Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Lance and Lauren, and we are live with you on Elevated with Lance and Lauren, episode 26. Today, we're talking about what's the deal with all of this macro talk and flexible eating. Gimmick or actually safe and effective? So, here's the thing. We have done fitness coaching. This year is my 16th year of being in the fitness industry. Quite a while, and she is just barely behind me. So on that, she was just a couple years.
I would say a few years, at least 5.
Well, it's still close, you know. So
I just remember getting mad at you on our honeymoon because you worked out and I hated it.
Yeah, she at one point said, "Fitness is never going to be my thing. I'm not interested."
I did.
And that was like year 1 or 2 of our marriage. So
I proceeded to get mad on our honeymoon because Lance took time to work out because the gyms were cool at the resorts we were at.
Yes. So here's the deal, guys. The very first thing regarding macros and macro talk and flexible eating and all this is, very first thing is what you think that you know. Scrap it. You probably don't know what you think that you do, and because there's so many myths and misnomers, and there are, on top of that too, there are so many like different areas within this, just like any other area of fitness, where there's an element of truth here and an element of truth there that people heard, and then it's like that game of telephone where everything just kind of becomes an amalgamation of everything. So the very first thing is that we want to talk about is what are macros. Guys, the very first thing is that macros are short for macronutrients. We know that we have micronutrients, which are your vitamins, your minerals, and those are the essential things that we require in order to be healthy. Well, macronutrients are the next ones. Those are larger, and these are, again, that usually comprise of, it's what makes up calories, but it is also the representation of protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And then the fourth hidden one, which is alcohol.
Oh, okay. I was going to say...
You were going to say fiber.
No, I wasn't going to say fiber, but fiber is really important.
Fiber is
I was going to say, notice that he mentioned 3. He didn't just say protein and fat.
Right. That's the key. So, yes, there are, and she's meaning, obviously, you know, there have been a million trends on low carbs. It's been called Atkins, it's been called keto, it's been called the all-fat diet, it's been called, there were 2 other ones whenever I first started as a trainer that they called it too.
We've done them.
Yes, absolutely, we've done them. But it's the same. The point is that macros are simply a placeholder for calories. So of your calories, you are going to be filling up your calories with those 3 things. Yes, you're going to get vitamins and minerals, but those don't make up your calories.
Right.
Protein is going to be 4 calories. Carbohydrates also 4 calories. And fat are 9 calories. So, and that's per gram of each of those macronutrients. So that is what macronutrients are. There's nothing special about them. Macros, yes, it's been this, hot button word for a while now, but the key is that they really do have a meaning. Now, the thing of it is that having a balance of those macronutrients within the parameters of the right amount of calories for your activity and your goals, that is the key to not only getting in shape, but maintaining your shape for life. Absolutely. Notice I didn't say a diet. Didn't say a meal plan. Right. A meal plan can fit within the constructs of macronutrients and calories that are for your goals. The point being is that macros, if you have these off, or if you have them dialed in, but you're eating too many calories, you're not going to get your results. Right. So there's nothing magic about them specifically, but when you have the right amount of calories and you are having the right ratio of macros like this, that's what's going to allow your body to perform at the optimal rate. And that means that you're consuming the right amount of protein, because protein is going to help synthesize muscle and to heal. It does several other things. It's very highly thermogenic, etc. I'm not going to get into the science of all of that stuff because we want to dive into how this all fits into the big picture.
Can you at least tell them what thermogenic means? Because I think that's a big word.
Okay, so thermogenics, guys. So what we'll talk about is the laws of thermodynamics and thermogenics. We'll reduce it to just thermogenesis today. Thermogenesis is just going to be your ability to burn calories. That's it.
There we go.
Thermogenesis. And so what happens is when you consume something that is more thermogenic, which is going to be protein and fiber, which is why keto is not something that I am prone to, because you need fiber for many different reasons, and it's highly thermogenic. What this simply means is that when you're consuming proteins and fiber, your body goes through a harder process to extract the nutrients from that food, and it causes you to burn calories just to get the nutrients out. Yeah. That's what causes protein and fiber to be such a great thermogenic nutrient for you compared to fats. Okay? Compared to fats. Anyway.
And you stay full.
Yeah, you do. It absolutely.
Really do.
Fiber and protein are going to keep you so much more satiated.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing is why do they matter? They matter because of what we were just talking about, specifically with making sure that protein is going to ensure that you are healing, that you're recovering, you're repairing and building muscle or synthesizing muscle.
Right.
The second is because carbohydrates is, well, first of all, we know that carbohydrates gets converted into glucose eventually for the brain, and glucose is something that is amazing for the brain, for cognitive function, for thinking, and for reason and rational. I mean, again, I could go on and on about that one. So,
you won't be as mean with carbs.
Right, yes. So the thing of it is, and it also is going to provide the energy for certain movements, activities, etc.
Right.
I'm not going to get into the everything as far as like which is the higher glycemic index and all of that, because yes, I will say that health-wise and something that's going to be easier on your body is going for a lower glycemic index. Those more often, I would say 80% of your food should be more low glycemic index carbohydrates, and then 20% of your foods can be more of the higher glycemic index, things that are a little bit sugary, or more sugary, since sugarier is not a word.
Well, I like
so, well, I tried and it just wouldn't flow, so sometimes you just roll with it.
Sugarier.
So, and then finally, guys, fats are going to do a lot of things, but one of the most important, I try to reduce things to the I would say the most prevalent or the ones that are most common. They're going to be responsible for your hormones. So your hormone function, it's essentially what's going to keep you happy. And again, I'm being highly reductive here, but bear with me.
Well, we're trying to make this as basic
yes,
as we
because I
can.
do want to make sure that it's not like a giant,
Science
web class.
lesson, yeah.
So, all right. So the next one is, did you want to say something?
About the next one.
Go ahead.
Okay. So this one is a big one because, well, I'll just say what it is and then I'll get into the big one. So it's flexible eating all the things. The short answer is no. And the reason why, I will say this from my own experience, I remember when the whole hashtag, if it fits your macros, whatever. You get what I'm saying? If it fits your macros.
It's IIFYM.
Thank you. I had to type it out to see it or type it. Yeah. Anyway, so whenever that was the big, like, all the rage, I remember seeing this online and people were just like posting pictures of like their Taco Bell wrappers and candy wrappers, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I remember going with Lance and be like, babe, can you believe these people think that they're eating Taco Bell all the time and they're going to get into shape? So the answer is no. It is not a free-for-all to just eat, like if you're, your calories are in here. It's not a free-for-all to just eat out here with all the other stuff. But the beauty of it is, and what I didn't understand when this kind of was like became something that more people were talking about in the fitness world, is that you can fit those things. And that's the beauty of it. Is that, gosh, how many of you guys, like right now it's summer, right? And so baseball and softball and all these different like sports are going on for everyone to play. And like tonight, we're going to go to a game later on and see a friend play. And it's like, okay, well, we might have to be a little bit quick with the dinner tonight. Well, we can find something at a restaurant, a fast food chain, that will fit our macros. And that's such an awesome thing to be able to do that, because when you're on a diet plan, or when you're on, a diet or a meal plan, or you're on keto, or you're on high carbs and no fats, you can't do that. And if you do, it's gonna mess up your stuff because you're probably so restricted with your calories anyway. So I kind of went all the way around that, but that is what I wanted to say about it. Short answer is no, but you can have freedom.
So the thing of it is that the reason we talked about this one is because a lot of people, that was such a disordered way of presenting what is known as flexible eating. flexible eating in and of itself allows you to have flexibility within your nutrition so that you do not feel deprived on a regular basis. What happens is when you feel deprived, you start daydreaming and fantasizing about foods that are outside of what you're supposed to have to reach the goals that you want.
Exactly.
This leads to shame, to guilt, or feelings of deprivation, which means that you're going to end up cheating. Which, when you're cheating once here and there is not a big deal. Cheating consistently is how you break your diet altogether.
Right.
So the point here is that there is a very disordered viewpoint within flexible eating. Number one is none of it is possible, and I have to stick with my diet all the time, and it must be clean food or it must be no carbs. It's the all or nothing principles, and these things are highly depriving. Mm-hmm. The other disordered side of this is, oh my gosh, as long as it fits within my macros, I can have all the food that fits in my calories. And so what happens is, and I witnessed several people doing this back, it was around 2013, 2014, where these individuals were maybe hitting their protein, they were hitting their carbs and fiber to hit their goals. And yes, for all intents and purposes, they were getting fit. I'm not going to lie. But they were highly, highly disordered in their approach because they weren't learning how to actually nourish themselves. So eventually what happened is essentially the novelty of eating all the foods that you want kind of wore off because you're feeling so sluggish and you're feeling like your workouts are not going as well.
Right.
And eventually it starts getting harder because what happens is you're eating all the foods that fit your macros, but now you're starting to feel hungrier because the foods that you're eating, while they taste, they're very high calories. So we break foods into two categories called nutrient dense and calorie dense. Yep. So we believe that about 70 to 80%, closer to about 85% of your calories should come from nutrient dense foods. Yeah. Foods that are typically, not always, but lower in calorie and higher in nutrients. Yeah. The other side, the fun foods, are going to be the foods that are calorie dense, which are usually lower in nutrients and usually significantly higher in calories. These are the foods that we usually would call empty calories. Yep. And the fact is that you don't need to avoid these entirely. Would that be great if we had the willpower to do so and that we weren't tempted and being tempted by those didn't take us off of what we needed to? Yes, it would be ideal because so many of those foods in excess do lead to health issues, cancer, so on and so forth. And the proof is out there. So what we do is encourage our clients the same way that we do to use more flexibility in order to stay the path better. Because you might think that, well, if those foods are bad, I'm avoiding all of them. I will never do that, and I'm sticking with just this. Cool. Let me know how that goes, because you're going to be using all willpower and discipline to try and do that. And what we've witnessed psychologically is that people who attempt to do the all or nothing, avoid all the things that are good and fun, they end up wrecking hardcore more than anybody else. So having a little bit of flexibility, number one, keeps you healthier and safer, but number two, prevents you from falling off of some proverbial wagon for dieting.
Yeah, agreed. I think just one example for you guys. A couple years ago, before we moved to Florida, they put in a Krispy Kreme donuts over here by us off of Mid Rivers Mall. And we were doing flexible dieting then. I got so excited about that because it was so easy for me to go through the drive-thru at Krispy Kreme and work a donut into my weekly food. Where prior to that, before, I would only be able to have like one day a week that I could have one meal. And it was kind of cool that, like, if on a Tuesday afternoon I just decided I would really like to have a glazed donut today, I could drive over to Krispy Kreme and make that fit on a Tuesday versus being like, well, crap, I can't have that because it's not Saturday. So, that was kind of the beauty of, like, going to that,
It's going to allow you to feel like you can still enjoy foods. What we call it is food freedom.
Yeah, absolutely.
And food freedom's a great thing to be in, guys, because if you've ever had disordered eating like both of us have, and I'm not talking about specific eating disorders that are extreme, but so many people suffer from variations of disordered eating habits. And we were one of those. And if you're looking to break that, this is a great way to do so. Now, again, it comes with certain learning aspects, but we'll kind of dive into that. So to keep this a little bit short, I'm going to go to the next one. So the whole key here, guys, everything that matters is negative energy balance is what matters most. And then tracking macros is what helps us to stay in that range to get the results without feeling deprived.
Right.
So put another way is that if you have the right amount of calories per day based on what you need to maintain your body weight, and you allow yourself what's called a negative energy balance, or what we call a deficit, you're going to lose body fat. So, and what that means is that there is what's known as a total daily energy expenditure. And this is the amount of calories that your body requires on a daily regimen in order to maintain its body weight. So if you reduce those calories from what your body needs, it's going to put you in a deficit. You're going to lose body weight. You're going to lose body fat, hopefully, if you're doing the right things.
Right.
But the point is that you can go very unhealthy and you can be within your calorie range and lose body fat, or you can be very healthy in the sense that you're going to have a good ratio. And the best way to do this, to make sure that what you think that you're eating is what you're actually eating, is to track your food. And the thing, I always use this analogy in the, or I guess I'll metaphor, we'll say, and specifically is I always like to tell people that if you're on a budget and you walk in with a credit card that you don't know the limit on and that you don't know how much you have available to spend that day, and you walk in and without looking at price tags, you just start swiping that card all day long, getting all the things you want, you're going to have some nice things that day, and then within a week or two, you're going to have a large bill that you may not be able to pay, and you're going to have basically no more money to get other things that you do need.
And a lot of stress.
And a whole lot of stress. And this is how people live on a regular basis. They eat foods that they think are clean, or they just eat things and then feel fat, and then they essentially go, well, I'm going to eat chicken and salad for the next 2 days, and that'll help. They see the scale go down. They presume it's specifically because of the salad or the chicken. So they eat more of that until they feel so hungry that they binge. They break their little pattern, and then they start going to the next unhealthy thing. The best way to break all of this, because again, this is bondage. The best way to break this is to start tracking your food. I know that seems like it is bondage also, but trust me, this is not bondage. This is coming from somebody. I hate writing things, or jotting things down. I don't like taking notes on, well, let me say this. I like taking notes on things I'm learning. I don't like stopping to be like, all right, I'm going to document what I'm doing. It's so tedious, but yet I do it. And because first of all, you've got an app. First of all, let me just be a jerk for a second. It's 2021. There are like probably 18,000 apps that literally scan your food and will log it for you. 10 years ago, my clients used to have to bring written stuff to show me what they ate.
Yes, and the cool thing is like also too, we use MyFitnessPal, but My Macros Plus is another one. But anyway, you can like if you eat an apple and it's 74 grams, which I think is kind of big for an apple, but if you eat that, it'll keep that in there. So next time you eat an apple, all you gotta do, it stores it. Yeah, all you gotta do is set it on your scale, and if it's 82 grams, just change the gram. It's so simplistic. It takes maybe 3 minutes a day to track my food. It's
so simple to track your food each day, guys. There's no reason not to, but the point is that you would never go into a department store with a credit card not knowing the limit without looking at the receipt or looking at the price tag. So don't do that with your health and fitness. If you're on medications, if you're pre-diabetic, diabetic, if you have high stress, hypertension, high blood pressure, any of the things that most people above 35 and older get, like we are, you need to wake up. You need to realize that it's time to start growing up and tracking your food, because the things that you're putting in your body that you think that you're doing, you're not. You're creating excess where there shouldn't be, and you're creating deficits in nutrients where there shouldn't be. So this is where tracking your food comes in, and it's easy. 3 minutes a day? You can't do 3 minutes a day to live longer in a more quality life of confidence and vitality? I'm gonna argue that.
Your poops are probably longer than 3 minutes. You can do it on the toilet. It's fine.
I'll just go on to the next one.
That. Yep. All right. Well, they can.
All right. Number 5. Clean eating alone will not get you results unless you're in a negative energy balance. This is one that I used to hear all the time. Yes. I had and again, I've made this joke before, and I won't obviously reveal who the person was, and again, this person would laugh at it now, but the fact is that there was a doctor that I was working with, And this particular doctor, I won't even say the gender, but this particular doctor was very surprised at the lack of results when doing personal training with me, and believed that as long as this doctor, I'm trying to do this to avoid gender, this doctor believed that as long as they consumed healthy foods, because it was all the great things, avocados, the best organic nuts, and I mean, you know, grass-fed everything. This was the health of the health of the health. Cream of the crop.
Grocery bill was $400 a day.
A day, easily. But couldn't figure out where or why the weight wasn't coming off. Right. So enter where I finally said, look, this is what's happening. You know, you're not at a deficit. Here's why. I got a lot of pushback. I'm telling you that's not the way it works, etc. And I'm telling you, yes, it is. So I asked this individual to do a little bit of experiment. And I wanted just 21 days, because I figured it would take about 21 days to begin proving, you know, essentially like proving it to a very, very good level. So we adjusted the calories, we adjusted the macros, still getting all the healthy things. We didn't change the content, but we did change a few things around to put this individual into what I knew to be a caloric deficit. So nothing changed, no quality, no nothing, no timing, nothing. Just putting this person in a deficit. And the person within 21 days dropped almost 20 pounds. It was something so insane that obviously that person was so convinced that they couldn't find people quick. They were looking for people to send to me because they were such a believer. So the point with this is that it doesn't matter how clean a food you're eating. If you're not in a deficit, you're not going to lose body fat. So with that being said, why not put yourself in a deficit and obviously tracking your food, but make sure that 20% of your foods can be fun foods so that you're not feeling deprived. Yep. So the whole thing is that if you're trying to think that in order to get in shape, you've got to eat clean all the time, and that's what's holding you back from getting yourself into shape, get rid of that. That's absolutely not plausible. It's not something that's necessary. So, and again, you don't have to eat clean. And if you're eating clean, but you're not following the rules of thermodynamics, in which case you're not in a deficit, you're not going to lose anyway. Mm-hmm. So you may as well feel satiated, satisfied, and nourished to get your results. Mm-hmm. So, very last one. If you don't track macros, how do you truly know that you're in the negative energy balance? And this is something that a lot of people will ask me. How do I know if I'm in a negative energy balance? Well, if you don't know how to actually convert into actually build your own calories, then what a great way to do this is to start tracking your food 3 to 5 days. And what you're eating, don't change it. And if what you're eating, you're not losing weight right now. Now, again, if you've got metabolic issues and you're not losing, this is not going to affect you. But one of the great ways that you can do this is simply tracking for 3 to 5 days. And then once you see what you're consuming, you begin to go, oh my gosh, some days I'm at 2,000, some days 4,000, some days 1,300. Now you can begin to see, I need to level this out. It's going to show you a couple of bad habits. The second thing is, once you get that where it's more leveled out, where let's say that you're consuming something continuously, let's say 2,000 calories a day, and you realize, okay, I'm consistently eating 2,000 calories a day and I'm not losing, what I would recommend doing is just decreasing about 200 calories, stay there for a good week. If you didn't lose anything, you need to decrease again. If you did lose, you're at a calorie deficit, stay where you're at for a little bit, you're gonna do great. And the main thing is don't forget that your metabolism will adapt. Yeah. So what calories are causing you to lose body fat now will not cause you to lose body fat the whole time.
Right.
If you want to know more about that, you need to watch my metabolism web class. You can comment below and we'll send you that as well. So anything else that you want to add on the flexible or anything like that? I know it's changed, the way that we do things significantly over the last 7-8 years.
It definitely has. It's given me my life back. I will say that for sure.
Definitely.
I was a miserable person. No one could tell, but I was a miserable person because I just felt like I never could. It was Wednesday night and I wanted to go out on a date with you. We go to a movie. I can't have popcorn. Just the dumbest things that and then I would get mad in the movie theater.
I mean, for me, it was more just the fact that it's like you're good all week and all you're doing is thinking about your cheat day.
Yes.
And that's all you're living for is I can remember people asking us to go out on a Saturday, and I'm thinking, oh man, our cheat day is on
Tomorrow.
Sunday, and that's fine. And then we would blow it on Saturday, and then we're like, well, I guess our cheat day had to be Saturday. So then we would waste a cheat day on Saturday, or then it would flow into Sunday. So these are real things that happen to us, and it sucked, guys. So this is why we do this. This is why we teach the methods that we do, because they're so much more effective and I would say better quality of life.
Yeah.
So nevertheless,
happy.
Yes. Nevertheless, guys, if you feel like this was helpful, be sure to comment #value in the comments below. Let us know if you have any questions. And the final thing too is, let me know what resonated the most with you on these things, because this is a lot of things that people ask questions on. I know a lot of you guys in the group have asked us this. So let me know which of these resonated the most, or which ones you actually didn't know or you were surprised